Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Pixel Imperfect podcast. Disregard the light amount of time between episodes. Please, no unintended hiatuses or slacking has been going on. Don't worry about it. We're back here now, at least. Who knows about the next episode? But today, we are back with another guest episode. Today, we are here with no data, Ryan, data, whichever you prefer. Say hello.
Howdy.
Howdy, partner.
Howdy, partner.
And we're also here, of course, with Sean.
Hi, I'm here too.
Great. And also, I am here, Bart. This is the most unconventional order in which I've introduced people, but we're rolling with it.
We shuffle.
We shuffle. We try new stuff, you know. First introduce the guests and then the hosts. Why not?
There we go.
So
that shows our priorities here. The guest is the most important one here.
Yeah, see?
Aww.
Guests on top. They the best.
Yes.
To be fair, I am genuinely hello, no data. I am a fan. Big fan.
Oh, thank you.
Like, your reviews are great. But yeah, so first, hello. Again, just as we did with the previous guest episode, we're starting with a bit of just interview style-ish, questions and getting some answers from you, getting to know you, what you're about with your art. And then after a while, we roll into a more general discussion topic, which I guess we should say it now. We have decided we're going to be talking about color palettes, because that is a big challenge, just getting color palettes right. So, starting off. All right, with questions. Sean, are we going to go back and forth like we did previous time?
Yeah, why not? We'll do it in turns.
Who starts it off?
You did the intro, so I'll start us off with a question.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
All right. So, first question, as per the standard, would be just to introduce yourself and what's your username on the various platforms. So just kind of give yourself an introduction.
Sure thing. So I'm Ryan, or No Data. I mainly post my work on Twitter under the handle Data is Gone. I'm also on places like Inkblot and Tumblr. Tumblr's starting to pick up a little bit too, which is pretty cool. But yeah, mainly Twitter. Data is Gone.
Tumblr still exists?
Yeah. No, it's still there.
I thought
for
that
some reason
died after,
Oh, yeah, I thought so too. I was looking for a place where it's where can I throw all my pixel dailies? And I was like, oh, Tumblr seems cool. So I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna use it for image hosting. And then suddenly, I'm starting to get likes and reblogs and stuff. I'm just like, oh, cool.
What? All right. For all of my viewers, and definitely not for myself, but for all of the viewers that don't know, what's Tumblr?
I barely know what Tumblr is either. It's a social media platform of some kind where you post stuff.
Yeah,
that pretty much sums it up well.
Yeah, that does, honestly.
Oh man, can you imagine a social media platform where you don't post stuff? God, what would that be like?
Not a social media platform by definition.
Boring.
I think.
Boring.
Be boring.
No, well, yeah. I've never been on Tumblr either. I just know that it tanked in activity after a certain point for a certain reason, which we cannot discuss on here. But
yes,
whatever.
Yes.
Moving on. Now the literal meaning of your username is pretty easy to infer. No data. But is there a specific reason why you have it? What's the origin of this no data or data is gone username?
Honestly, it's just from a song that I like from the band named Digitalism. They literally have a song called No Data, and then somewhere in the lyrics it says the data is gone. I'm like, that's really cool. I like this band. I like this song.
That's
I think a
perfect.
lot of people mistake it for like Data from Star Trek, and I'm like, I've never really watched Star Trek, but here's this cool band.
Ah,
Data
okay.
from, that's a very like data is just a word, and saying no data is a like that's a pretty little. Why do they relate it to Star Trek?
I
Because
guess
there's
there's
a
a
character in
character.
Star Trek. You know, it's Star Trek is kind of famous,
I
and
know, but
Data being the android in Star Trek, I can see it. I can see it.
it still feels like a bit of a stretch to me. But whatever.
Well. So the next question, I've just closed my question paper. Man, I'm amateur hour here. So here's the next question then. So
Throwing it right up.
yeah, I've got it. So how would you describe your own style in brackets S?
Did you say in brackets S?
Do you not? Are you telling me that you do not read on the you do not read out loud in brackets S? You don't read
Hey,
it as in brackets S.
you're not even doing it right. You should say open bracket S close brackets.
No, it's just in
Ooh.
brackets. But that doesn't matter. The question: how would you describe your own
Sorry.
styles?
Sorry,
slash
Ryan.
styles?
Well, first of all, I feel like I'd pronounce it like open bracket S bracket, but
No,
Yes!
I've been outnumbered.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm,
Okay,
I'm
continue.
sorry, Sean.
Don't
I would
apologize to him.
probably.
I don't deserve apologies.
Oh. I guess I'd probably describe like my main style as like painterly. I tend to just use like a ton of colors and paint in paint in like big like blocks of color, and then kind of like add more color to sort of refine those shapes, if that makes sense, similar to like what you would do in maybe like an oil painting. Like before I
Right.
picked up pixel art, I've done like other digital painting or other like like traditional painting, like with oils and stuff. So I think I just kind of translated over there.
Ah.
Um, but yeah, that's just the main word I use to describe it. I
Yeah,
can do like some of the smoother stuff, like the dithering, but I prefer just throwing whatever colors I want on there.
makes sense. Good enough reason as any.
Style. Just throw colors at it.
Yep.
Understood.
Does it work? Keep it.
Yep, fair enough. Fair enough.
If it ain't-
We
hey.
can get more into this on the main discussion about color palettes and stuff as well.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've answered this question to us personally a couple of times before, but for the audience's sake, around when did you start making art? Now, I would say we could do this for both. Like, when did you start making pixel art, and when did you start doing art in general? If there, because there is precedent for you making art before pixel art.
Oh man. I think like I started like when I was like a young kid. I just really liked drawing because I was super into Pokemon. I still am. So I try to like draw Pokemon and just like little animals, which is still reflected in a lot of my current work. Um,
Right.
yeah, and I was really interested in like working at places like Pixar, especially when I was like entering college, but I did not enter an art school per se. I kind of entered a school that's like very like all STEM, humanities bad, art bad, make money. And you know, I would like to make money too. But I think just naturally I gravitate towards art. So for a long time, I tried to quit art or try to like focus on like what was quote more important unquote. And then finally, like at the end of 2021, I was like, I'm sad and depressed. You know, I'm just gonna try to draw again. And then I saw Pixel Dailies. I was like, this art style is super cool. So then I started trying. So I'd say I started pixel art late last year.
Yeah,
All right. What a journey.
that is a
I
journey.
know.
It's much better than my origin story. I'm like, all right, so I want to draw. That's my origin story.
Nice, respectable. I love it. Please write a book. I'm gonna read it back to back.
I am writing a book. Unfortunately, not about that.
But
So
Still,
yeah.
My story is also a bit more complicated, but you can catch that in episode 1.
Yes, you can find my origin story in episode 1. So, on to the next question would be, I guess you've kind of said a little bit about this, but did you have any prior experience in other art forms?
Yeah, painting for sure, and just like drawing, like life drawing and stuff like that. Before I hit college, I was like self-taught, and then at my very STEM heavy school, I was like, I'm gonna take an art class. So I majored in art, and took a lot of
Nice.
oil painting classes there. So that was pretty cool. So I'm glad that, some of that translated into what I have now.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, with that kind of background, I can see why the pixel art sort of that you've gone for has that kind of painty look.
Yeah,
The
no,
oil
I
painting
definitely
look.
like, as soon as you said you did oil painting, I made the connection immediately to some of your pieces. It's like, yeah, that very much, yeah,
Oh, thank you.
makes sense. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you do it good. Now, you already let some of it slip, a mention of Pokemon here or there. But just give us a good overview of what all inspires you.
Oh man. I mean, Pokemon and discussion. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, okay. Valid.
Honestly, honestly, it's just like right now it's like anything that just makes me happy. So it's been quite a bit of fan art. So it's just like um I'll be like, oh, the announcement of Pikmin 4 made me excited. Let's draw Pikmin. Or like, hey, I'm kind of nostalgic for old school Animal Crossing. Let's draw Tom Nook. So like, and then from there I kind of just like just so it doesn't feel stale to me, I guess. I always try something a little bit different in each of these fan art pieces.
Right.
But it just anything that honestly makes me happy. It could be like it could even be a meme like the night sky one I did.
That one was
Yeah. Uh-huh.
that was good.
That was the first thing I thought of when I saw that prompt. I was like, night
And
sky,
also-
all right.
Right, you also made a joke about GitHub.
Yes.
I feel you, gang. I need to work with that now for a project. It's like,
I don't, suckers.
ugh.
Oh,
I'm free.
Free of
I'm
GitHub. GitHub
jealous.
is great though. We love GitHub, but it's also
jealous.
annoying sometimes. But that's just because the projects are hectic and annoying, not GitHub.
What programming project isn't hectic? What art thing isn't hectic? It all mashes together.
What? Just remove that second word. What isn't hectic? Period.
True. True.
True.
I mean, I can name a few things that aren't hectic.
Anyway, sidetrack.
Yes.
Getting back to the main track.
Back to the question.
That
We're
was a
onto
bit
sort of-
that was the cursory question. So now, right? Can I just
I'll
first
let
off-
you start off with the specific questions because I'm just looking at the notes here, and I think you should be the
They
one
are
to ask this
hectic,
question.
and there's some other questions that I'm gonna toss in there. But this first one, I mean, I
is a Bart
already told
special.
you I wasn't. This is a Bart special. I already told you I wasn't gonna let you off the hook without talking about these hands. Like that's what I have written down. Hands question mark.
This question has no correct answer, by the way. Oh,
No, I
hold
cannot
on.
hear you.
Uh,
I think.
oh, yeah,
they're
okay.
back.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay,
Oh,
that
you're
was
back.
weird.
This
weird.
recording's been full of surprises so far. This is great. So yes, hands. Okay.
That's why I love this podcast.
We roll with things.
We roll with things. So yeah, hands. You've made
Hands.
okay. For context, you've made two pieces of hands. One called Rusty one that was for Pixel Daily's theme, Rusty, I think, and the other one for another Pixel Dailies, and both of them were incredible.
The other one was for like first person view, I think it was.
yeah, first person
Yes.
hands. I just looked at them earlier today, so that's why I know. Um, so yeah, I don't even know what I want to ask you about them. They're just great.
We're taking this moment to let Bart gush about how well you're able to draw hands.
I have a
basically.
role for this in the Discord.
He does.
Yeah, it is the thing, because hands in general in art are a very difficult thing. So how do you do it?
Well, I will definitely release that drawing process video that I have been working on very slowly.
I was looking and I saw like, oh, in July there was a post like, I'm still working on it, guys, and I was like, huh.
It's there. It's there. I promise. That
Videos
screenshot
take
was real.
time. Videos take time.
I know.
I just took pictures of my hands and put them up as a reference in my drawing program, and then I just drew them.
Yeah. I mean, yes. A lot of people still like that would work for a lot of people, but it just happens. You just kind of make them well.
Like, I think, because I did struggle a little bit on this one, I think what I did, just like looking at it now, I started with like a lot of like big, like blocky shapes before kind of like going into like smaller things like the little joints on the fingers and like the shape of the palm.
Right. That makes sense.
Because I think with hands, if like it's not like proportional to the reference and stuff, then like it's gonna like look off. So it's like establishing that first. And I think that took me the longest.
Establishing proportion first. That is a good guideline, I'd say.
I mean,
yeah.
I imagine most people will be trying to establish proportion if they're trying to go for realism. Yeah.
You're right, touche, but that is no. Be a struggle at first. Right.
All right, so away from hands for a second.
No, we're going to come right back to it. Don't worry.
Bart will touch back on hands in a moment.
Catch these hands.
Yes, but hands.
Right. Yeah, I just wrote some sort of these haphazardly, so I'm gonna need to give context even after Sean gives the question here. So,
in the meantime, one of the questions here is about how you do texture in pixel art. Talking about texturing in pixel art, so I'll let Bart give the context for this one.
I don't know. I was just looking for your like pieces, and it just seemed to me. I don't know. I feel like I could really discern the texture in a lot of the pieces you were making. I don't know if that might just be a me thing, but I mean, definitely the hands, of course. The one that was for Rusty, like you could clearly get that like rusty, sandy, like mixture. Like, I feel like maybe I'm reaching here, but I feel like you do texture as well. I'm wondering if you had something to say about that yourself, or whether you're like, oh, apparently.
Oh, thank you. I think like for the Rusty one, what helped me is like when I actually tried to reference like Rusty pieces, is just noticing that like the rendering or the shading on, you know, the actual rust itself kind of came in like a common shape, if that makes sense. Where like there's just kind of like a lot of how should I say it? Kind of like sharper edges, which kind of sounds weird in the sense of like pixel art, but it's just like instead of like round, you know, and gone blobs, it's just trying to keep like, you know, almost like a vertical stroke, and leaving behind a lot of like smaller pixels and stuff to try to help blend it. So to kind of make it like look rough, but like the shading that I tried to do is kept in like a specific direction, like vertical.
There you go, Bart. There's your question. Pixels. The texturing in the pixel art.
Yeah.
There you go.
Texturing in pixel art. That's covered. Neat. So because I was just looking for it, and I was like, I can feel some of these pieces basically.
I can feel them with my eyes.
Yes.
All right.
Right. I also want to say we could talk about because you also do game dev stuff.
I
Very-
do.
You do game dev, right? How's that going? What have you been up to with that? What have you made?
I have been trying very hard because I think my day job I'm gonna end up being a technical artist, which is kind of like a programmer but works on like tools for art and helps make
Ah,
like art possible in some cases. So
right.
um, in that regard, like I've just been like either doing my own games, like a lot of programming, like the math game that I was sharing with you, Bart.
Yeah,
And then I
I
also did
didn't
like
end up
a.
helping with.
I still will need your help later because I want to
Oh,
pick it
okay,
up again. Honestly.
okay, okay.
What have I missed? Huh?
Um, you give the context.
Go on, give the context to me
Sure.
and the viewers.
So, one thing that makes me really passionate within game dev is like making games that are for all ages, but especially educational games. So for me, I'm someone who actually like went back to college. So I've been to college twice.
Mm.
And um, part of I think the reason why I struggled at or I should say my college name at my first college, the very STEM heavy one. Um, is like my math skills were very weak due to just some issues that my high school had, and some own personal choices. But um, so like as an adult, it like I wanted to look for resources that would help me, and sometimes like there's that kind of ageism thing where you kind of get made fun of for stuff, right?
Yeah.
So then it's just like I started looking or I started relying more on things like Khan Academy and everything. And Khan Academy is great, and there's other like games like Prodigy and stuff, but like they do have the very feel of like let's appeal to kids, right? Like young kids, because they want to get young kids ready like as soon as possible for their future. But it's just kind of awkward because then I felt like I had to hide quite a bit of my studying. Like I remember at when I used to work at like a large tech company, I decided to use lunch to restudy geometry. I was using Khan Academy, and then one of my coworkers, like actually saw. I was like, "Why are you doing that? That looks like a kid's thing." Like he actually specifically said that, and that just bothered me for
Is
the longest time.
Yeah.
is Khan
Yeah,
Academy a kids thing?
I didn't think it was, but
Yeah,
I
it
mean, like
didn't seem like it necessarily. Okay, sure.
like you can have like the avatars that have the little animals on it and earn trophies that have like cute little like
I guess.
stars and you're number one, you did it, and
But
that
that's
kind
a
of
lot of
feel.
platforms, even ones that are definitely geared towards teenagers, students, and all that. They all have cute animal profile pictures with trophies or something.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, if you take a look at what's it called now? Oh, I really hope that I remember the name of this. It's a drawing thing. It's like a game. Gartic Phone. There we go. Gartic
Ah,
Phone
right.
is
oh, Kartik
definitely not a
phone.
kid. Is definitely not a kids game. You see some of the stuff that people have done on it.
Well, I mean, I guess Gartic Phone is that's debatable. It could be for kids because you
It
well,
could.
not if you do public lobbies.
But yeah, definitely not a public one.
But if you have a private lobby with a bunch of kids, then Gartic Phone is just a-okay for them.
Yeah, but it has all of these cute little icons, and then you've got
Yeah.
these people making amazing animations on YouTube with just Gartic Phone.
Rubber
Ooh.
Ross, my
Yeah.
guy.
Yep, that's the guy.
Oh, I gotta check those out.
Yeah, you have to check it. You don't
I
know
mean,
about
it's not
Rubber
just
Ross?
Rubber Ross. He
No.
like
Yeah,
collabs.
okay. He gathers a
Rubber.
bunch of animators. The other ones are great too. He gets some. What's the other one? There's one. I don't know. There's good folk on there.
There's a lot of there's like a whole community of people that use Gartic Phone and make animations and stuff with
Yeah.
it, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, but yeah, again, the platform itself looks very juvenile.
It's very
But yeah,
Yeah.
no, not to undermine your point because that's you are right. There's some things that are definitely more geared towards children.
Yeah, and like I guess around that time, because like there's just it's just kind of like depressing, Like I had a hard time like asking for help based like after kind of being like teased for like having fallen behind in math. and stuff
Yeah.
like that, especially when it was by my TA or my teaching assistant,
Oh
that
god.
like just kind of like,
Yeah.
Hmm.
yeah, I'm not comfortable asking a lot of questions anymore. So it's just like, like when I was sad, I found myself like trying to like escape through games, but it's like, what if you could actually make like a cool like RPG or something that also introduces math, but it's not necessarily like, I don't know, like
Hmm.
little kid, ABC,
Yeah.
PBS or something like that. It's like it's almost like a saga, and you're excited to come back to it, but to just do something like you actually have to help a farmer. I don't know, measure the volume of like how much water he needs for this plot of land or something like that,
Right.
and it's got like cool graphics or and an
Yeah.
actual story, stuff like that. So that's like that would be like the dream for me to make, which
Uh-huh.
is like, essentially the kind of prototype I was starting to make, and
Uh-huh.
I showed Bart since
Right.
he's studying math.
If I,
Yes.
I'm gonna be honest, that sounds like the kind of thing that Vsauce would do. Like
Ooh.
I can think of like a
It's
few
just a
different
game.
like kind of educational YouTubers that might be interested in that kind of thing, you know?
Maybe like Vsauce 3 or something.
Yeah, because
Because
you've got,
Vsauce 3 is more, he likes video games more.
and then there
Jake
was,
Roper, that
and then
is.
there was the Vsauce video about teaching parabolas using Mario.
Oh, I gotta see
Right.
that.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's great.
definitely check that
Yeah.
one out as well. You're
There
getting
there
all of the
is my
recommendations.
brain is like that like RPG. So yeah, the idea is like she Ryan showed me that and she was like, yeah, can you maybe I don't think you even asked for help. I was just like, ayo math, education, better math education, ayo. Can I help?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I am hopeless at
I
maths.
I just jumped on that because that was one of my biggest gripes with, at least for my country, the math education. It's garbage. It is a
Ooh.
miracle I went for mathematics. Like just the way they present me the concepts of mathematics, it's not good. It could have been done so much better and so much more interestingly. But I have zero surprise that almost everyone in the world is like, but what do I need it for?
Yeah.
Because no
Oh.
one tells them.
Oh my
Hmm.
gosh.
But yeah,
That's
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no worries. I was gonna say actually that's one thing I really wanted to hit with some of these like math game or even just like educational game ideas is like it
Context.
doesn't have, yeah, like it doesn't show like why you would need that or something.
Hmm.
But so like what if
Give
you went on a quest
context.
where it's like it actually made sense that you
Yeah.
used, a specific equation
Yeah,
or something.
I there was also the part of my brain that was like, imagine that I mean, you are making it, but like you make like a my mind. I mean, when you make a series out of it, and every next installment comes increasingly difficult mathematics to the point where it's like you start moving to university level, and then it's like, all right. How do I here's complex function theory for you,
I mean,
or Fourier analysis?
I
How
can
about that?
I can already think of a few kind of applications. So imagine like a game that's similar to Sea of Thieves. So you've got this big ocean one. You've got like maps and triangulating things. You could do stuff with
Alright.
geometry and that kind of thing. So I can
Ooh, that
now
would be
now
cool.
that you've mentioned it, you've kind of got me thinking about like
Yeah.
what kind of concepts could I do while still integrating it into the form of a game.
How do I incorporate university level
Educational, yeah,
mathematics into this?
into video games. Yeah, I like that idea. I really do.
You
I
know,
think that's really
it's
cool.
good. Keep at it. We love that.
Thank you.
Definitely.
I
And
mean,
I still my
like,
help is still available.
thank you. I appreciate that. And Sean, I will ask you for your help as well. I
I don't
mean,
know how much help I'll be able. I will be, but I'll be
Sorry,
happy
play
to
you
help
test
in
need to
any
it.
way I
help
can.
now.
To play
With
test
play
it.
math.
test it.
Yes.
No, with
Okay.
math
Yeah, yeah,
specifically.
Uh, I
Okay, that
will.
was
I will
chaotic.
help in any way I can.
oh, thank you. I mean,
Right.
I just figure like if people love playing video games so much, including myself, it's like that'd be a cool time to learn too.
Yeah.
Like you're
I mean,
really
there have been
actually having
attempts,
fun
but it
learning.
always I do feel like a lot of educational games do lean too heavy into the educational part, and it's just like, this is just a test, but like pretending to be a video game.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys played Froggy Fractions,
yeah.
that game is so mathematics. Have you guys actually ever heard of Froggy Fractions?
No.
Wait, I think I have.
You have. Oh, I really hope that joke doesn't fall on deaf ears.
I don't. I have
Okay.
no idea what it is.
I'll let you look up Froggy
I'm
Fractions.
sure that one person listening is laughing. So
I
hard
remember
right now.
this. Okay.
You
No,
do?
I remember the joke.
Yes. Okay, Froggy Fractions. Man, that's a wild game.
What is it? I will have to figure this out later.
It's free to play. You can find ways to play it as well, but I suggest going in blind and giving it
Is
a
it
go.
okay? I feel like it's a subversion of expectations where it starts off nice and cute, and like, oh, you're doing fractions, and then it quickly derails into some sort of monstrosity.
I will not spoil a thing.
Good.
So I think that's the end of the kind of the question section. We can move on to a general discussion.
Yes.
And kind of the topic that I wanted to that we wanted to bring to this was color palettes.
Yes, my arch nemesis, as is everything in pixel art, really. But
Color palettes. Now,
Color palettes.
kind of a guilty admission, since I was but a wee lad. I kind of grew up. My dad worked a lot with color theory because he's a sign maker, and I ended up going and doing that as well. So I do sign making, and part of that is learning color theory, learning layouts, and things like that. So I kind of got a head start in that before I did pixel art. So color theory, I was very, very familiar with it when I started doing pixel art. So other than having to learn hue shifting, that was about the only thing that I really had to learn.
I know nothing about color theory. It's straight up.
It's not as hard as it looks.
I mean, the basics, yeah, of like, warm and cold and contra something
yeah,
colors.
and then you get into the color palettes, and you have things like you've got basic things like contrasting palettes, and then you've got the triangular palettes, and then the quad palettes. I can't remember the technical name for them, which takes like a square. It gets seemingly complicated, but when you look more into it, it's not too bad.
I think it actually is called Square.
Is it actually just called square?
Yeah, I googled it just in case. It's actually just a square.
Nice. Square.
A square.
Brilliant. There you go. So yeah, there's a lot of different things that you can learn in color theory, but once you have the basics, it's pretty easy to pick up if you just do a bit of study in it. And I think, to me, because I struggle with things like maths and really like hard set rules and fixed things, I was always doing the creative stuff going through school. In English, for example, there's no right answer for when you're studying English, so I passed that really well. Not that you could tell on this podcast with how bad I end up speaking. But yeah, I did music, did quite well in that. I did art for a couple of years and was told that I shouldn't take the class as it would waste both me and my art teacher's time. That was
Wow.
that was not fun. But then I did pixel art instead, so you know what? I'm fine with that.
Woof.
Wow, that's whoever said that. They're not a good person. I don't like them already.
Beat
I
'em
don't
up.
like them.
That was my
Beat
art
'em up.
teacher.
Beat him up.
What? Oh my God!
Fight.
What kind
I
of
don't-
teacher is that?
I don't
Inciting
want,
violence.
I don't want to beat up my art teacher. He's really old.
He deserves
I
it.
don't want to break
He's
him.
had his time.
No, he was generally quite a nice teacher. But I was not a very good student. I wasn't listening to him for half the time, and I can understand why he got frustrated with me and
Right.
told it. But
Right.
it was really discouraging at the time.
Yeah. I don't understand that. Yeah.
And then I took graphic design instead of art, and that one ended up speaking to me much more. Because then I got to learn technical drawing, I got to learn more color theory, I got to learn all of the different perspectives, I got to learn all the good stuff.
Great.
And it turns out, doing graphic communication, the class was called, doing that is actually really helpful for learning concepts in pixel art as well.
Ooh.
Because in graphic communication, you're dealing with angles and all sorts of stuff, dealing with 3D and 2D shading, all sorts. And it's all of that kind of stuff that a lot of people struggle with in pixel art.
Yeah. I can see that, yeah.
So, but that's enough about me. This is a guest episode. I've been talking for way too long. So
You've got experience. Yes.
Hey,
I want your
Googling
opinions on
graphic
color palettes.
communication.
Yes, guest. Give us your opinions.
Like how I start picking colors, or just like what kind of advice I give?
Because
Any of your thoughts on
but
colors?
I was looking for your pieces again. Again. And it is sometimes like some of your pieces like so many colors, so many shades of the same color. Like, where are they coming from? So yeah, how do you handle color palettes or the colors that you use? Or
I'd say my secret is I don't use pre-made color palettes.
Yes,
unless
yes.
unless I specifically say, because like for other styles of pixel art, I do like seeing like the different like ways you can render like dithering, and I really only know dithering, but yeah, so basically like I'm like that's cool, but I also kind of feel like a little too restricted in that sense. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm just gonna pick some base colors and then like ask myself, should this be like warm or cool? Do I want it to be kind of like soft, or do I want it to be like really in your face, and then kind of just go from there? I never like really plan out the palettes, like how people pre-pick colors and like they put a little like swatches on the corner of their thing. I'm just like, nah, I just put it straight on there. I'm like, well, that's not working, paint over it, or use undo if it's small enough.
That is me. That is me as well.
Yeah, sometimes that's me. It depends on the situation. But I struggle to stick with a specific color palette.
Like, especially like like pixel art. I don't know all the history of pixel art, bad of me, but I think like a lot of it was born too because of the limitations of technology at that time, and we're not as limited. So I don't really buy into the whole like pixel art purist thing where it's just like, oh, you have to use like a certain amount of colors. You have to stay.
It's fine to use certain amount of colors. That's cool and impressive when people do that. No need to force people into it.
I know, yeah. Yeah, like I remember uploading one of my pieces to like this one site, and then it got rejected because it had too many shades of green, and I looked at it, I'm like, it's a monochromatic piece.
Wait,
it's all green.
What website is it?
It is Pixel Joint.
Pixel Joint. Yep, that's the one. That was trying to think of the name.
That website is like, okay, to be fair, I don't mind that a website like that exists. That is like, because there is something to just having one place where it's like, we have strict rules of what you can get in here. But that is definitely a very specific niche.
It is. It's like a cool site. There's like so many cool people on there, and like I at least participated in one of their contests, like the Halloween poster one.
I've been meaning to get into Pixel Joint.
I participated in Pixelween.
Yeah.
That
you
was
participated in laughing at the name Pixelween as well.
Yes. It is a hilarious name. Will always be funny. But yeah, I submitted for that 3 pieces that somehow got accepted, but that was because I was following the rules for the contest, and that was it.
Me too. Me
Yeah,
too.
I do something like I am generally also a person that just kind of picks their colors. I think probably even more haphazardly than you, because you use a lot of references. Well, I use reference, but then still I'll just like basically spin the lottery wheel as I run across the color wheel. I was like, right around here, right around here. Cool, that's it. That's the main color.
Yeah.
But that's me in most of my pieces. But sometimes, especially when it's like a Pixel Daily's challenge or some similar thing like that, I do also like working with limited palettes sometimes, because it does make you think differently about color and how to use it. For example, one of my favorite things is when color doesn't become about, oh, is this the color of the object that I'm drawing, but oh, can I convey similar sort of texture, brightness, or in contrast with the color, like compared to the color that it actually is.
Yeah. I saw a video on that, and it was all about luminosity, which is a really important concept, which is the actual brightness or the perceived brightness of the color. Because if you're using the basic color wheel, for example, the one on Asebright is you've got the big square, and up and down is brightness, and left and right is saturation. If you go to the top right, full brightness and full saturation, that is going to be lighter or darker depending on which color you've actually picked. So the yellow will be brighter than the blue at full brightness and full saturation. And that is luminosity. So there is a mode on Asebright that lets you turn a layer into its luminosity. So basically it gets rid of all of the color and just has it in gray tones dependent on its luminosity. And I use that a lot more recently to help me with, I guess, just making sure contrast and things work. Because if the luminosity map is readable and it works good, then almost no matter the colors you pick, it's going to have a nice finished look.
Right, yeah. Ooh. I should look into that. That is because definitely
look
at
luminosity.
Yeah.
It's something that I learned a couple months back about using luminosity maps, and it's very, very handy, I've found. Although it might just be the kind of art that I do because of my specific style, but I've found it handy.
Yeah, wow, I didn't know that tool existed in Asebright. That's cool.
Asebright rocks, yo.
I should honestly use it. Sorry, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. It's just Asebright has so many amazing tools, and it doesn't have a tool to let me play sounds and animate with sounds. It's the one thing I want it to have.
Hey, Asebright.
And it has been requested.
I know Mr. Asebright is listening. No, just kidding.
Jonathan Asebright, excuse me, good sir, please
John
add sound.
Famous John Asebright. Would you please listen and add some noise to your program?
Yes, and of course the founder of Pixel Imperfect, John Imperfect. Yeah,
John Pixel.
The creator of pixel art, John Pixel. I make that joke every time whenever it's like, oh yes, the creator of Burger King, John Burger.
John Burger. There is a chain of restaurant or fast food restaurants here called Johnny's Burgers.
Oh. A real John Burger. He's real.
No, it's Johnny's Burger Company. But yesterday I was playing D&D with some people, and one of the people said, "Like, yeah, are we ordering from Johnny Burgers?" just lost it. It's like, yes, let me call up my buddy Johnny Burgers for some good grub.
So Johnny Burger came over to
Came
America
over.
and started Burger King.
There you go.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
true
but it was here first,
Wow.
obviously.
Yeah.
Johnny Burger. Johnny Burgers.
Superior.
the true origins.
Our order was way late, by the way. They were having a terrible time over there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But we got burgers eventually, and then fries like 1.5 hours later.
I've had too many experiences like that with small cafes where it's like, okay, here's your tea, and here, because of course I live in Scotland, and in Britain we have
Tea.
we all drink
The
tea.
only
We're all
beverage.
tea drinkers and afternoon tea and stuff like that. So here's your tea, and then half an hour later, okay, here's your shortbread.
Great.
Yeah, I've had
That's
too
it,
many
yeah,
experiences like that.
I haven't. Like, usually they've been fine, but just yesterday, I mean, it was terrible weather, so, like, everyone was ordering burgers, and it was also a Friday evening, so everyone was ordering burgers. So I'm sure they were just having a riveting time there, but yeah, whatever.
So what's your your favorite fast food?
John's...
That just sounds like straight up a bunch of cold food.
Yeah.
Right, this is now a fast food... We're gonna make let's make a fast food tier list, because, you know...
Yeah, we're doing
Get
it.
on with the trends.
Oh yeah.
Right
but
on time.
For real though, favorite fast food restaurant, go for it.
Ooh.
Johnny's
Right
Burgers.
now. Right now for mine it's Cane's. Like, they just have such good chicken strips. Like, that's basically all they sell is chicken strips.
Okay.
Great.
But they are so good.
Are chicken strips just like an American thing? I don't think I've ever had them.
Me neither.
I guess they are. Here, I'll just link you.
Are they like an
And I mean, I'm not gonna eat them either because I'm vegetarian. But you know,
Yeah.
good to know.
Okay, you can click it if you'd like, Ben. But
Where's my veggie chicken strips, yo?
Veggie chicken strips? Corn chicken
Let's-
strips. Oh, okay.
Oh, actually, like, that reminds me, Bart. Like,
Okay.
when I used to live in, there was this really good, like, vegan, like, fast food diner, like, experience. You know, lots of portobello mushroom burgers and, like, vegan milkshakes and, like, fries and stuff. God, it was so good. I'm personally not vegan, but I loved going there. I don't know.
Hey, if it's
I
good,
would put that
then
in my
don't
top.
knock it, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was like
But yeah,
vegan
right. Do you want us
food
to? Hey, Shaw, give you some work. Do you want us to cut out the part where you mentioned the city?
Oh, I
Are you
I
not worried
can
about that?
do that.
Yeah.
No
oops.
problem.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's no
No,
biggie.
it's
Just
no issue
for,
at all. I always
for
have
your
to
sake.
listen through the whole thing anyway.
So, like, I know you were being careful about mentioning place names and all
my
that.
school.
So,
No
so
Dawson anymore.
I just heard you slipping it, and I was like, I'm just
Oops.
squeeze
No
that
worry.
in there.
It's okay. I'm not there anymore.
Yeah, you're not okay. Nah, don't let that's
Well,
not there
Time to
anymore.
get doxxed.
Also, not exactly at this location right now. Reading out my not my coordinates. Anyway, right, fast food. That was the podcast, right? Fast food. Color palettes.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay, we might not all stick to color palettes, but do some of you have favorite color palettes? That color palettes you say, like, if I am to use a limited one, this is the one I'd go for.
Yes.
Which
Well,
one?
that's difficult to say because I haven't named it, but it's one that I made.
Ah, show it on the screen. It's right
on the
here.
screen.
Share
Okay,
it.
boom. There, it's on the screen right now.
Except if you're listening on any platform that doesn't have visuals, like
if you're
most of
listening
them.
and without visuals, it's basically just it goes from white through blues and kind of it starts off. It gets more grey as it gets lighter, and it gets into really, really deep blues at the darker end. And it's just like one big sweeping line.
Sick.
It's
Nice.
It's basically the one that I use for my avatar, so you'll see me use it on
right.
the thumbnails.
Is that? Yeah, that is a good one.
And it has enough contrast, so you can kind of act different parts out as different colors. It works out nicely.
It's kind of like, instead of grayscale, it's blue scale, kind of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And
in a way.
I've also got an extended variant that has reds and purples as well. But like my main one is just this, that color.
Bleh.
Mm-hmm. And of course, in usual me fashion, I find myself not sticking to the color palette every once in a while, and I will, when I'm in the shading part of my art, I won't like the contrast in two areas, but because I need to keep it that specific shade on the line in order to contrast it. So like I'm doing a shirt and the jacket is dark and the shirt is bright and I need to keep it bright. I can't use certain colors on the palette, otherwise it just looks like it fades all into the one thing. So what I'll end up doing is taking the colors, artificially making it a little brighter or adding another mid-tone between them, just kind of changing about the color palette a little bit to suit my needs.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things I can do with modern technology, because I'm not limited to pixel purists.
Wait. So I have a question. Like,
Shoot.
if you're adding in midtones to a palette, does that break the whole rule of like staying within a palette because you modified it?
In a technical sense, definitely.
Yes. It's how a lot of people view opacity. A lot of people kind of view you can't have opacity in pixel art because that changes the color.
Yeah. Again, pixel joint doesn't allow opacity, I think, in most of the cases, right? Yeah.
And I use opacity all the time.
I don't use it a lot anymore. I more often just take middle, like take two colors and take the middle or something, or take some gradient of it and then use that instead of opacity.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've had bad experiences using opacity because I always mess up my layers, and then it's just like
good tip for opacity is don't use too many colors that have an opacity change. If you're going to have something that is a little more opaque, try and keep with one color and one or two maximum, because if you're doing that, imagine that your color palette has just doubled in size. Because you'll be getting one new color for everything that you go over. Every time you re-go over that color again, that'll be another one. So you'll be tripling the palette in size, and it can very quickly become confusing as to which color you used for what. And if you're using layers, you can hide layers and work on it, but as soon as you start doing opacity, you should be on detail level there. It can get confusing easily, so try your best to keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. So we got one favorite palette. Good tip, Sean. Very good tip.
Thank you.
We got one favorite palette. Right,
now then,
no data. What's your favorite palette, if you have one?
I really don't. Probably because like if I have to use a palette, I just either pick up the one that they're telling me to use for whatever prompt, or just scroll.
Yeah. Was there a prompt at which you were like, good colors? I like those colors. Or is it seriously just like, guess I'll use it?
I think the Pixelween one from last year where it kept growing.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a fun concept.
That was cool.
Having increasingly many colors. What was like going from like 4 to 8 to 16 to... Was it that? 4 to 8 to 16 to 32?
Yeah, it was. It was.
32 colors. How do you use them?
Maybe not 32, maybe 16.
Maybe it was 4, 8, 12, 16. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was smaller because I don't remember having access to 32 colors, but I mean, overall, like, I think I just became like attached to those colors after like struggling to use them like the first
Yeah.
one and being like, oh, now I know how to use them or something
I
like
mean, yeah,
that. And
it's
then,
kind of cool because you're working up. If you did all of them, you were kind of working up to the big one.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And just like also seeing like how other people would interpret using those colors was really
Yeah.
fascinating. So I'd say that one. But otherwise, like if something like Pixel Dailies requires a palette, I use that. Or if Dailies is like use four or less colors, and I'll be like, all right, random
Yeah.
roulette at low spec.
Yeah. Or my collab that I started.
Oh
That
yeah,
one you,
yeah.
you were limited to palettes as well.
I need to join in on that.
Oh, have you?
I
Oh
haven't
yeah,
done
you
anything
haven't
for
you haven't
that yet.
submitted one to me. I will. Yes, Bart. What are you doing? Get in on my collab.
Studies, man, university.
Yeah. Okay.
School.
Understandable.
If I am to follow the recommended amount of time I'm supposed to spend on university weekly, it'd be at a cool, like, probably 70, 80-ish hours per week, which I'm not doing, but I'm still doing a lot.
Man, I left school and I never looked back.
Right.
I was this close to I was this close to going away to study games design at university. I ended up taking the advice of my parents and having a gap year, and in that gap year I've got myself a job and I have not felt the need to go to university since. So I've just not.
Right.
And
Makes sense.
yeah, and I ended up just continuing on with pixel art, and yeah, so here I am now with no experience in games design.
Ugh.
No days
Yeah,
are showing me
yeah.
up here.
But
Aw.
uni and school and work, I don't want to think about that.
Yeah.
My favorite color palette.
Go on, Bart. Tell me. I want to know.
Honestly, there is one. It is one of these standard ones in Sprite. It's Rosy 42.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Rosie 40.
Rosy, look at it. It's pretty. We love Rosy 42.
All of the colors go together with each other so well.
Yeah. I've made a couple of pieces in Rosy 42 as well.
Same here. I don't have them on me, but I have done it.
Let me see if I can quickly scroll through my things to see if I can find one.
I think this was back in my Pixel Studio days when I used to do all of my art via mobile.
Isn't this
Yeah,
one?
there's Rosy 42.
There's the one.
Ah.
There it is.
Ooh,
Let's
this looks
see.
cool.
I'm
It
just
is
looking
cool.
at my finished pieces folder. Yeah, I don't have one on my PC.
Wait,
Oh, and I won't
here's
have it
one.
on my phone because I just got a new phone today.
Here's one. Here's one. There we go. That uses Rosy 42, mostly the
Yeah,
Ooh.
the reds and that.
yeah.
Oh wait, maybe.
Like-
What do you mean you don't know about color theory? This looks like
this-
you're using color theory.
I mean, this was me definitely kind of, sort of subconsciously thinking about warmth and all that sort of stuff. Yeah,
Did I hit cancel? I think I did.
and and luminosity and brightness, like starting bright and then fading to the more kind of But this was more intuitive usage of color theory. Like I don't have actual knowledge over it.
Hold on, fellas. I'm booting up Sprite. I think I've found one of my pieces.
Oh, he's done it.
Oh,
I've only
And the other
gone
one-
and done it.
I do also sort of like to use. Well, I don't use it often, but it's a color palette I like because it is just green Game Boy color palette. It's like here's green, 4 versions of it.
The Game Boy Color
Oh my
palette is.
gosh.
It's
Thanks,
kind of like
man.
it's a cop out to me, but it's a nice one. I like it.
Yeah, I mean I used it for what is it? Is it right or left?
FF0044.
One of our grab emotes.
Game Boy Grab.
Game
Is
Boy
yours left?
Grab. No,
Yeah, yours
it's-
is left.
that uses. Do I have the full one?
Oh, darn it! This one. Oh, this is my own color palette. It just looked nice enough, and I was like, you know what? This is a nice color palette. Maybe it's it's not rosy.
Oh, speaking
Oh
of this
well.
Game Boy palette, I have to use that same
There.
palette at
Oh,
least from like GB Studio.
Uh-huh.
there's the full
And in
piece.
a game jam this week, so I guess I'll
Hey.
also be
Ah,
using a lot of
hey,
green.
I gotta get into a game jam at some point. Game
we
jams
gotta
We
get in
so
the
gotta
game.
so
do
much
one.
fun.
Guys, I next quarter university, I'm gonna do a course where I make a game, and after that, we're gonna be jamming together. All right?
Please,
Yes, I really
please.
wanna. I really wanna.
Oh, that
That
would
would
be a
be fun.
perfect time for Sean to practice game design.
Let's
Yes,
go.
brilliant. I
Nice,
because
could help
the
make assets.
yeah the only game that I've actually like made and programmed was on Scratch, and
Right, you showed me that one.
yeah,
I
the Five
played
Nights at
it.
Freddy's one.
Did I play
Yeah,
it? I don't even
the
remember.
legendary. I don't know if you did play it or not. Oh,
I've seen it.
brilliant.
Yeah.
But it's easy enough to it was easy. It's easy enough to program and work everything out in that because the AIs are as simple as randomize. Will it move this time or will it not? And it was
Right.
all really easy programming, and the only big challenge was making the AIs and the sprites line up because I had to work with two different kind of things. I was working off of lists, and then I had to have the coordinates of that, and because for some reason Scratch doesn't like things being pixel perfect, I had to manually do that, and it ended up looking a little janky. And, it was a hassle.
Embrace the junk.
Yeah, I had
We
to.
love the junk.
But yes, actually getting to work on a proper game jam, that'll be fun. I really want
That
it.
would be fun. I mean, if you're gonna do game jams, you're gonna have jank. That is like
Oh, absolutely.
so. Yeah, that mean you're gonna have to embrace it. Otherwise, you won't
That's
finish.
basically a requirement.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Man.
If the game comes out of a game jam and it's not janky in some way, I think it will just not win, like just out of principle.
Yeah.
There's some foul play going on.
Even if it's fair, like they're just really good programming. It's like, what? No, you're not doing it right.
It's supposed to be
no.
broken. Embrace the spirit of
Yeah.
the game jam. You're cancelled.
Cancelled. Oh god, I'm going to Twitter right now, calling you out.
Canceled.
Yeah.
No, okay. I think we're sort of running towards the end here. I did
yeah, we
want to
are.
ask one more question that we kind of glossed over, I think, which is, I mean, we talked about doing game jams in the future already, but do you have what's your future plans? Right, no data.
Oh my gosh, it's an
Cool.
interview. A job interview.
Don't
Where do
worry,
you see
won't
yourself
you
in
won't get the job.
5
we'll be asking
years?
you.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years? No, don't answer that. That's a dumb question that dumb interviewers ask. Just what are you planning to do? Because game dev stuff or whatever, making your math game, but like, oh, you decide how you answer that.
Man, I just picture myself like being in the games industry. Like an actual dream would be like to do tech art and pixel art together on like, some kind of 2D game or even like a 2.5D game.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely like game stuff and never dropping the art thing again. Or forever.
Never forever. Don't drop
Or
it because you
forever.
think you need to do STEM or something. I do STEM, specifically mathematics, and I still do art.
Yeah,
I
see?
have a full-time job and I still do art.
Yay!
Yeah. But also, like, anything in the near future, things coming up, like somewhere we can catch you in. Hold on, am I remembering this right? Like,
Like,
7-ish days or something?
Yeah, like a video or something.
Like some sort of event.
Oh, I am streaming inside like a Discord, but it is like for members only of that Discord. I know,
Censor
but
that.
like I'm excited to like learn how to actually stream. So maybe that I can actually consider like streaming in the near future. People do it on Twitch, YouTube, and all that. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
cool. but then I like never do it.
Yeah. I think the most disheartening thing for me that would stop me from streaming, other than my really bad internet, is like getting over the first hurdle where you're streaming to no viewers, and you've put in all this effort to make a really nice streaming thing, and you've just got no viewers.
That's
or
the
like
thing. Like you
your
will most
mom
likely
is
be
watching.
streaming to basically no one for a while before you pick up any traction.
That's
And that's where
the
you
biggest
learn to
hurdle
be
for me.
very aggressive about promoting yourself. 'Cause I know I've streamed once or twice, and I posted the link everywhere to get like a couple of people watching.
Second time.
What did I say? I didn't remember.
Oh.
What word did I say?
You'll find out with the very loud, obnoxious bleeps that I put over.
I cannot remember the words I just said. Did I swear? Oops.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I know now. God, that took me a second. Anyway, cool. Good luck with your future.
Yes.
Thank you. Did I get the job?
No, you're fired. Get out.
No, we'll get back to you, and with that we mean we'll ghost you until you call us back, and then we'll say,
Oh wait,
we already got something else.
I can't fire you. No data, you're hired. Okay, now you're fired.
Oh.
That was perfect. Just rise and crash.
All right,
Basically the job hunt.
yeah. So I think that's as much time as we have for on the stream.
You to do the outro.
So
because I
it's,
already did the intro.
it's my turn to do the outro. All right, that's the end of the episode, everybody. I would like to give a special thanks to No Data for joining us in this episode. All of her details and places that you can find her and anything that she wants to promote will be in the description. And again, if you want to check us out on other platforms, we have YouTube, Google Podcasts, other platforms, other places. We're around. And if you liked this episode, make sure to do the respective liking options on your platform. And I guess all that's left to say is goodbye. So, that's goodbye from me, Sean.
Goodbye from me, Bart.
And goodbye from me. Oh, sorry.
No, you did it. That was
You
pretty
did
good.
it.
I did it right.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yes.
Thank
Give
you
me the
for
job.
this
Give me
is
the
the
job.
end.
You're hired.
Oh!
You're hired.
You're hired.